Close your eyes and step into the leather sandals of a Roman legionary, not the glorified centurion etched into marble reliefs, but an ordinary soldier in the early days of a campaign. The year is 18 BCE. You're stationed in the northern provinces, near the edge of the Roman Empire. The enemy is invisible for now, barbarian tribes moving through forests, but the real struggle today eyes in with spears or arrows. It's with your feet. The ground is soft, a swampy mix of clay and moss, churned up by hundreds of hobnailed sandals. The line stretches on for miles. Infantry, supply wagons, mule carts, blacksmiths, field engineers. Every man carries his own kit: shield, helmet, sword, armor, a few days' worth of rations, and a wooden stake for camp building. It's not glamorous, it's exhausting, but it's how Rome moves. You wake before dawn, not to a trumpet, but to the quiet clinking of mess gear and groaning of men stretching stiff limbs. Sleep came on bare ground. Perhaps a thin blanket between you and the dirt, or if you're lucky, packed straw under your cloak. The night was cold, damp, and filled with the sounds of nature and men murmuring in Latin, Greek, and a dozen other tongues. There's no breakfast, not in the sense we understand. You chew on hardtack, maybe softened with a splash of diluted vinegar water called posca. It tastes sour and gritty, but keeps you from dehydration. If you're lucky, your unit's cook might have boiled a mush of barley or millet the night before. There's a faint smell of smoke in the air, and the last coals from the cook fire glow red before dying out completely. You do not speak much. Orders are minimal. There's no discussion of glory, honor, or conquest. You know that will come later if you survive. By sunrise, the signal staff is raised and the march begins. Each day on campaign, Rome constructs a temporary marching camp. Think about that for a moment. Every evening, thousands of men dig ditches, raise earthen walls, hammer on wooden stakes, and build tents or lean-tos. This happens after marching 20 miles or more over hills, through streams, and across dense woods. It is not optional. Rome moves in order, and order means protection. Engineers, the agrimensors, mark out the ground using a standardized layout: main streets, gates, tents for officers, latrines, animal pens, supply areas. Everything is methodical. You know exactly where to go because every camp is a copy of the one before. It's a ritual of sorts, repeated so often that the muscle memory begins to take over, even when your mind is numb from exhaustion. And when the day ends and the walls are raised, your real work begins. Some sharpen weapons, others dig latrines. A few tend to wounds, blisters, mostly, or sore shoulders from carrying the scutum shield. A lucky few are chosen to forage nearby, searching for wild onions, nuts, or roots. You're warned not to stray too far. Enemy scouts are always possible, but most just collapse by their tent posts exhausted. Evening meals are simple: porridge, dried meat if available, sometimes dried fruit or beans. There's always more posca, and occasionally wine watered down, of course. You talk with your tent mates about home, letters received, or rumors about when the campaign might end. You pass around dried figs or salted olives if someone has bartered well. You stare at the fire. You clean your sandals. You wait, because most of a soldier's life is not war, it's waiting for war. And as the sun sets and the cold creeps in, you wonder, what kind of man survives this kind of life? Is it strength or just endurance? And what happens tomorrow if the march never stops? The next morning looks just like the last. You stretch your legs, wrap your cloak tighter. Another day without combat, without glory, just dirt, repetition, and distance. This is the long war, the war no historian records in vivid ink. No triumphant arch will remember the slog between river crossings, or the endless sharpening of blades that may never strike. But you live it hour by hour, footstep by footstep. There are drills, of course. The optio order shield formations. You practice marching in columns, rotating ranks, lifting the heavy scutum as if a volley of arrows is falling. Your arms ache. You hold the shield anyway. It rains lightly. Your tunic sticks to your back. Mud collects around your ankles. Still the formation holds. Later you haul timber. Each soldier must contribute to the defense of the temporary camp. The palisade is rebuilt daily. You drive your wooden stake into the trench wall, pack the base with earth, move on. The centurion walks the line with a vine staff, tapping it rhythmically against his boot. If he finds slackers, he doesn't hesitate to use it. Discipline keeps you alive. That's the motto. You whisper it sometimes when the work gets too hard. Even rest is structured. You clean gear, tend to wounds, boil water. Trade gossip. Some write letters on wax tablets, letters unlikely to reach home for months. Others gamble with knuckle bones or play dice games scratched into wooden planks. A few sing old songs, low rhythmic tunes from rural Italy or distant Gaul. Time stretches thin in camp. You begin to forget what day it is. The months blend. Only the change in crops or trees or animal sounds reminds you that the land is different now. The enemy remains unseen. Occasionally, a runner from another unit brings news, a skirmish to the west, a scouting party ambushed in the hills. Whispers of revolt in the rear ranks, but here, nothing. Silence, mud, and routine. That is the strange truth. Campaigns are not built from battles. They're built from boredom, from men waiting to die, but not today. You begin to understand why veterans are quiet, why they stare at the sky for long minutes and say nothing. It's not trauma, not always. It's memory. Memory of years spent marching toward a fight that kept stepping sideways. You sit under the awning of your tent, oiling your sword, wondering again, when will it begin? Or has it already begun and you simply missed it? Eventually, a skirmish finds your unit. Not a grand cinematic battle, just a fast, messy clash in a clearing. Ambush, arrows, screams. You raise your shield too late. The soldier beside you falls, clutching his neck. You swing your sword more from instinct than training. It lasts 4 minutes, and then it's over. You stare at the blood on your tunic, wondering whose it is. The injured are dragged back. The dead are buried shallow. There's no ceremony. You're handed more dried meat, told to rest. The camp is rebuilt. Nothing changes. And that is what breaks you, not the fight. The fact that after it, everything returns to silence. No music swells. No speech is given. The same drills return the next morning. The Optio yells the same commands. You haul timber with the same men, -1, and that becomes your survival, the return to structure. You'll march again, cross rivers, sharpen blades. You'll gamble with dice, chase rumors, sleep in dirt. Some days your unit will suffer illness. Diarrhea sweeps the camp. One man collapses from heat. Another slices his hand while mending a sandal and dies of infection 2 days later, but still you go on. One step after another, eventually you're rotated back to a fort, stone walls, real roofs, a bathhouse, wine. You should feel joy, relief, but you feel disoriented. You miss the rhythm, the noise, the marching orders. You walk the perimeter at night, out of habit. You oil your armor, though there's no need. You clean your sword more than required, because survival didn't come from strength. It came from surrendering to the system, letting each hour dictate the next, letting boredom numb the terror. Years later, when you return to your village, someone will ask what war was like. You might say, muddy or long. You might tell a story about a deer seen in the mist, or the time a cook traded onions for soap. You won't talk about the fight in the clearing. You'll talk about the waiting. And as you fall asleep that night, older, grayer, no longer marching, you might think, perhaps that was the real war. The one no one writes songs about. The one you survived by standing still,